name's Alan. I like IRONWORX because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love IRONWORX with Josh, Walt, and Zack. It's like sitting in your front room having a cozy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that IRONWORX with Josh, Walt, and Zack, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the IRONWORX.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Ironrealmmedia is the best on the plane. To the show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to the IRONWORX with Zack, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the IRONWORX and become an Iron Scout.
Not to worry. I have a permit. This just says I can do what I want.
Good morning. I'm here. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
What is dark matter?
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Cami thinks, internet, the earth is flat. It's like school.
Dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe that dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, what I'm afraid of course, is that there is no dark matter out there. So what? There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard, think really hard.
And a TGIW. Happy Wednesday. Happy midweek. Happy, not even hump day, given it's a short week. Well, at least for me. But we're here. We done did it. We done made it. How you fellas doing?
Yeah, I can't.
Bullshit.
I'm good. I'm in the middle of talking to Kevin, so it's taking a minute.
Gotta type it all the way out.
Well, we're doing it different apparently this morning. But I'm here. I'm trying to wake up. This helps. Trying to think this through. I think, oh no, see, I can't do it. My brain's not awake enough to coordinate like that. That's it. I'm done. How are you, good sir?
Oh, not too bad. Finally got my damn card taken care of yesterday. I'm such the worst fucking procrastinator.
I don't know about that one.
Well, if I'm going out of town tomorrow and I needed to get my car tags legal, I've had since April. I've been driving around since April on bad tags because I'm just, not even that I'm too lazy. I just fucking hate the DMV. I hate everything associated with licensing vehicles and people.
The fact of it, the having to do it, the going there, the dealing with them, the bullshit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of it.
All of it.
Oh, so you see old Mark Kelly?
Yeah, I did.
Mr. Astronaut, who is he shorter than his brother or taller than his twin from spending so much time in space? Didn't they say they were different heights now or something like that? Something stupid, or their DNA changed or something like that.
Something like that.
Space weather.
All of that about.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Apparently, he forgot some of his military training. Him and 5 other senators decided to tell the military to defy illegal orders.
Which I agree with.
Yeah.
Trouble is,
you don't get to decide what's legal and illegal.
Right. That's the kind of shit that gets decided after the fact. It's a gamble. Maybe they kill you. Maybe they find you innocent. But it's not like, well, I think this is illegal, so I'm not going to do it. You say, well, this might be illegal and I'm not going to do it. We'll just decide after the fact if it was or was not legal. Then, depending on that outcome, we'll determine whether or not I get shot.
Yeah, they're talking about recalling him to active duty so he can go through the court-martial proceedings. Now it's just all part of the show and everything like that, but man, what does Trump have to say for it? Saying they should be arrested and face trial for seditious behavior. That's the only thing in quotation marks is seditious behavior. And then seditious behavior punishable by death. Hang 'em, George Washington Wood. All in quotation marks, capital letters. Then he clarified that he's not threatening death, but I think they are in serious trouble.
When I said hang 'em, I didn't mean
so
kill
y'all are
them.
both.
I meant like Christmas lights.
Right. Y'all are being cryptic, and I don't have a fucking clue. What is going on?
So, Mark Kelly, the old astronaut senator.
Oh, yeah, I know, Baldy.
Yeah, him and 5 other senators decided to make a video telling military members to not, what's the word? To not follow, to refuse.
Disobey.
Illegal orders. So if someone tells you to do something that's illegal, you refuse to do it.
Gotcha.
And the whole thing is, unless you're a military lawyer, I wouldn't, it just doesn't go on your judgment whether or not something's legal or illegal.
Yeah, that's not how orders work, I don't think.
I do have something to add into that, gentlemen. Good
Go
morning.
right ahead. Good morning, Andrew B.
Morning, Andrew B.
So, yes, I was involved in 3 combat deployments, and one of the things that we were told is that if an officer tells you to go and do something, or any superior above you says, hey, go and do that, like, hey, go clean the shitters, like with your bare hands, yeah, that may be pretty fucked up, but it's not considered an illegal order. But you can file a complaint about it. But if they say, here's a machine gun, walk into an elementary school and just start killing people, then that's an illegal order. It's unlawful. And you can refuse to do that because it's against the UCMJ and also civil code.
And that's my question for you, Andrew. When they say illegal, don't they mean USC, not the UCMJ?
It's both at that point.
Okay, then my question is, which military members are subject to U.S. code and not the UCMJ?
That's a great question. I'm not a military lawyer, but I did get...
Okay, well, which ones still have constitutional protections as a soldier?
It gets a little tricky, but military members are also subject, sort of like driving while drunk. On a military base, you can face civil code and also the UCMJ at the same time.
Oh.
And I have a buddy that got busted with that because he was driving drunk on the city street, and he decided to go, as a cop was following him through the gates of the military base down in Port Hueneme. At that point, he got double charged because it was a civil code, and then also he went, he got a double charge for that shit. Because also he was like failing to stop. And then also driving on the military base, that's when the MPs got involved.
So they say that federal law prohibits actions intended to interfere with the loyalty, morale, or good order and discipline of the armed forces. And then the Defense Department bans any activity that advises, counsels, urges, or in any manner causes or attempts to cause insubordination, disloyalty, mutiny, or refusal of duty by any member of the military or naval forces of the United States. So he's the only one out of the 6 that actually falls under military law still.
Yeah, I'm still curious, but the reason I joined in is because I heard you saying that, is it Mark Kelly or Scott Kelly? One of the... Mark Kelly, okay. So, how old is he now? He must be like close to 60, I think. If they're going to try and reactivate him into active duty, I don't think they're legally allowed to do that.
Well, they can bring you back to face charges.
They can draft your ass at any age.
So, when people join the military, and Josh, I'm sure you're fully aware of this, but for everyone else that may not be aware of it, when you join the military, you have an 8-year obligation no matter what. So, like for me, as an example, I had a 6-year obligation, which means I had, that was 6 years of active duty, and then I had 2 years of inactive duty, meaning I was not in the reserves, but in the event that there was going to be a draft or something, first what they would do is they would activate all the reserves, because they're still technically active duty, quote unquote. And then after that, they would activate the inactive reserves units. That would be like me or Josh when we got out of the military, because we were still freshly trained and all that kind of stuff. And then after that, they would actually activate a draft. That'd be like the last resort situation. So, but after that, they can't draft me anymore. They can't draft me or Josh. We have already served our time.
No, they can draft us.
No, they can't. Absolutely not. They cannot.
Yes, they can.
What? No, it's in the con. I read the entire thing.
What about 80-year-old? Do you think they could draft an 80-year-old?
No, fuck no.
Yes, they can. They could draft a 14-year-old. They could draft them at any age. That's their power. If the country is in dire straits and the enemy is getting ready to overrun our borders, or if all the other fighting age men are gone, they can absolutely draft them. Look at it. They're doing it in Ukraine. They would absolutely do it here if they needed to. They're not going to let 40-year-old guys be like, ooh, you guys could go ahead and sit back and let everybody else die. We just can't draft you. I don't know what we're going to do. No, they draft your ass.
No, that's when I would just, they draft me, I'll show up with a big blunt in my fucking mouth. All right. Fuck you.
All right.
Pass the drug test.
Fuck you. You think we need a drug test? Nope. You think we need to maintain the same standards we needed to when we took all you? Nope. It's a draft. I don't care if you got busted legs. Guaranteed. I don't care. They will waive medical issues, legal issues. If they need bodies to stop bullets, I guarantee you they will find bodies to stop bullets.
Okay, well, I suppose, though, we're not in like World War II or anything. And the last time we had a draft was in Vietnam, and that was a bunch of nonsense. And a lot of people were draft dodgers. And yeah, some of them, like one of the guys I worked with, he literally said, he's like, oh, I can't see very well, and there's no fucking way I'm going to pass the drug test. And I'm an alcoholic. And at that point, they're like, okay, well, we might call you later on then.
And there you go.
And that's
there
how
you
he
go.
got out of it.
Oh, they postponed it. They just didn't need to call him up later on. They didn't like, oh, you're an alcoholic, you're a drug addict, and you got issues. I guess you're completely free from serving any kind of draft whatsoever. No, they said, okay, well, we'll just put you to the back of the list. Once everybody else dies, then we'll pull you up. You'll go back there with the 84-year-olds, the 14-year-olds, and all the old-ass previous military. You'll go back there with them, and we'll call you if and when we need you.
Okay, well, there's other ways to avoid it, but I understand your point. But my shop teacher, Mr. Soma, technically Dr. Soma, he said when he was in college, that's when the Vietnam War was basically starting up. And he said he didn't want to go to fucking Vietnam. So he said that one of the ways you could avoid that was to stay in college because they weren't drafting college students as long as they were going through, like, you know, well, as long as they were in college.
That's because it was a much different economy back then, and not every single high school student would go to college.
Right. Well,
it was a great way to backdoor all the politicians' kids.
Yeah. Well, he said he would have never got his PhD if it wasn't for the Vietnam War, and he got his PhD in industrial engineering. And I was like, oh shit, okay, that's kind of cool. He's like, yeah. He said I only did it because I didn't want to go to Vietnam. That's why. But he said I still went to Vietnam. He said he went, for 2 years, because he said as soon as he graduated from college, he was all done. They were like, all right, Vietnam time, because that was like an 11-year war. But I guess they'll take anyone they can. Now, farmers and shit like that, I think, might be a little bit exempt in some cases, because they still need to have some sort of an economy. They're not going to just take every single man, woman, and child and be like, all right, fuck it. There's got to be some people that are kept behind in regards to...
Yes, the women and the children. They leave them behind. That's why women don't have to sign for the selective service, because they will never be drafted. They only get to vote as to whether or not men will go off to war and will need to be drafted. They will never have to actually go off to war themselves.
Yeah, the 18th Amendment, women's suffrage.
That was the 19th, and it was universal suffrage.
Shit. Oh, yeah, okay, I'm off by a little bit. I saw a man on the street question. It was one of those guys walking around asking a whole bunch of women if they should get rid of women's suffrage. And they were like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Because they thought it was like women being suffering women. That's not what it means.
Well, throughout history, most women didn't want women's suffrage. That's why it was never voted on. Well, it didn't. That's why they couldn't pass it with a vote, because it kept failing. All right, women, there's your chance to vote, and go vote for your right to vote. And they would knock it down every time. They didn't want it. You know why? They didn't want to fucking be drafted. They didn't want to go off to war. They don't have the requisite force. Like, we're not as strong. We're not as fast. We can't handle weapons as well. What good is putting us into war going to do? We're no good at it. You're not going to look for a surrogate mother from a bunch of men, because the men won't have the requisite body parts to carry a child. Conversely, if you're looking to draft soldiers, you don't draft your female population, you draft your male population. You want to use the most qualified, not the least qualified. So women and children won't have to worry about getting drafted. They will only, I guess they could theoretically. If all the men are dead and you got nothing left to lose, then you might as well just give one last big push from the Karens and the preschoolers and just let them do it. Right, arm the kids, give them a bunch of cocaine and black powder and AKs, and just let them run free like they do in Africa.
Okay, but Josh, did you ever register for the selective service?
I don't know.
Okay, because I never did. I joined the military when I was 17.
Same. I was DEP too.
So you probably never did then, because once you got in there, it made you exempt from having to register for it. So I am not on that list. Neither are you.
Not on the selective service, but they have, that backdoor draft. I can guarantee you we are on different lists, Andrew. We may not be on that list, but you and I are probably on another list.
Well, we're not too far from age in each other, but Because you said you're what, like 48? I think you said.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I turn 43 next month. Well, sort of next month, January 6th. Fuck you, Trump. My birthday messed up my birthday. Anyways, yeah. So when you get out, there's the 8-year obligation, and that puts you into the IRR, which is the inactive ready reserve. And then after that, from everything that I've heard and I've read, that even if like a new war were to break out, they could ask us to come back, but they couldn't force us to. I mean, unless they were to like come to my door, like who's gonna fucking come to my door with like, here's an M16, like put on your fucking boot. No, it's not gonna work out very well. A lot of veterans got out for a reason, including myself. I got out for a reason. I was tired of fucking shooting people. Anyways. Thanksgiving is coming up in a couple of days. You guys doing anything interesting?
I think I might try to get down to see my dad in a few months. That's about a 3-hour drive. Other than that, no. Not going to work. That'd be nice. How about you, Andrew? You got anything special planned for Thanksgiving? I almost said Halloween.
I'm trying to avoid going to my brother's house because normally it would be at my parents' house where I am. Lately, I'm in charge of a lot of the cooking because, well, and I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I know how to fucking cook. I'll tell you what. I can give you a mouthgasm with my fucking gravy and my fucking.
Whoa.
I know it sounds a little innuendo right there, right? A little euphemism. But I know how to cook. Okay, I've taken a long time to learn how to do that. But anyways, and I was also trained by 2 master chefs as well. Literally, they're master chefs, qualified in blah blah blah. Anyways, but yeah, now it's gonna be at my brother's house, and he married a chick that's like 75% Mexican and like 25% fucking I don't know something else, and she has her whole family that comes by on Thanksgiving. So it's like a whole bunch of. I mean, they're like the cool Mexicans, they're like the ones that are actually not like standing outside Home Depot kind of Mexicans. They actually have fucking jobs and run businesses and stuff.
Drive low riders. Keep their.
Yeah, no. They're like the cowboy kind of Mexicans. But anyways, yeah, but they bring everyone.
It might have been racist. I'm trying to taste on it right now. See.
Well, you can always tell them because they got their flannel shirts buttoned at the very top only. Just that one button at the top.
Those are the cholos.
They come looking like they just came out the kitchen wearing hairnets.
Over their eyebrows, right?
No, these are the ones that actually have like their shirt tucked in, and they don't smell like fucking manure, or they haven't been picking grapes all day. But no, I mean they're cool. It's just they bring by everybody. And they all have like 9 children, and this is like, in my brother's house, it's only like a 2,000 square foot house, and it's like, come on, dude, and then they want me to all. I'm trying to avoid that, and my mom's like, oh, okay, I understand it, and everyone just gets hammered drunk, and I'm just like, not my kind of thing anymore. Plus, you can't go anywhere. It's just like every 5 seconds you have to like.
Closed.
Oh, hey, Andrew, how are you doing? I'm like the only sober one there. And then it's like, it turns into like a 10-minute conversation about something I have no idea who the fuck you even are. All they know is that I'm the brother, Nathan's brother. That's it. Like, cool. Like, I'm never going to meet you again. And like, I'll go get another Corona or something. And Meanwhile, there's kids running around bumping into people and fucking spilling wine all over the place, and yeah, it's just. But that's what I'm trying to avoid. But yeah, that's. I love my family, but I don't like that kind of aspect of it because it's just. It's like going to a carnival, but it's just not. There's not enough space, and there's no rides.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I really love my family, except when I have to be in the same room as them.
Well said. Well played, sir.
What's a girl got to do to get a drink around here?
What up, Travis?
Holy shit!
What's going
Travis.
on, everybody? I know,
Where are
Andrew.
you?
I know. Listen, man. I set my alarm to get up today. Like that's how serious I was about getting on the show, man.
Where have you been?
Where you? You beat me to it, Andrew. Where you been at?
Right behind the at.
Well, hey, just to throw it back to what you were talking about before. I grew up near Port Hueneme. Were you based in Port Hueneme, Andrew?
Yes.
Well, what years?
2002 to 2006.
Yeah, okay. I was in Maryland, but yeah, that's where I grew up, man.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, but yeah,
Oh,
before
okay.
that, I was just going through training, but that's when I got stationed out there.
All right, nice. So where? Yeah, I'm in Southern Colorado right now. I think I said that last time I was here. But yeah, I just took a trip to California, went camping with my mom and my nephew, and I've just been back in Southern Colorado. I've got a holiday craft fair show coming up this weekend, so I'm gonna pack up all of my parlones and my mustache waxes and start making dents in the grooming industry.
Well, that'll be awesome.
You just made me think of
By
that
the
one
way-
scene.
Go ahead, Andrew.
In
What?
the movie, that one scene in A Million Ways to Die in the West, and they have
I've
like
never watched that.
Oh, you got it's.
I know. It's
Normie.
it's Naked Gun. It's Naked Gun airplane kind of humor, but it just never appealed to me at all.
All right. Well, you got to watch at least the mustache.
No. I have seen that one. I have seen the dance with Patrick. What's his face?
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
But anyway,
Yeah,
listen.
so-
I gotta send Josh and Walt your parlone, and
If I find the new secret formula.
So, Andrew, talks about being a chef. I like to cook too, but man, I can't tell you how surprised I am that I am really diving into these potions. It's really fun. I just made love potion number 9 yesterday. I just made the feminine energy and the masculine energy. I love it, man.
Nice.
You know what's interesting is that I made Josh's parlone first, and I was like, for me, it's so funny because I'm here and you're not, so I have no idea whether or not you're gonna like this, Josh. But I love it. I think it smells great.
Sweet.
But I made the first one, and I was like, I'm not really sure. So I made a second one, and I liked it too. And I put the one on my one wrist and the other on my other wrist, and then I married them, and the combination was crazy. It was really interesting.
Huh.
So you're going to have a masculine energy, feminine energy version. And so, I'd love to see how you and your wife appreciate the, the vibrations, the energies and whatnot.
Sweet. Well, just make sure you send me a link for payment.
Yeah, for sure. I'll send you my business card, and it's got the connection there.
Hey, wasn't that a movie? Love Potion number 9?
It's a song.
I'm sure the song too, like way back, like early 60s, right? Maybe.
Well, I got it has to do with pheromones. So.
Yeah, you know what I could do? I was just thinking about it. If I was going to be on the show today, I was going to think if anybody out there is interested in, maybe a different option for gifts for people. I can give Josh my my code for Venmo or my link tree. I mean, my link tree, and then you guys can contact me that way if you wanted to maybe put in an order for something that was maybe a high end product, and you want me to make a version of it. You guys can hit me up, and we'll make it happen. And I'll put that link tree in the chat.
Sweet. Thanks.
Oh, yes. I just looked up. Yeah, Love Potion number 9, 1992. Two scientists who are hopeless with the opposite sex experiment with a substance that makes them irresistible to anyone who hears them speak. Sandra Bullock, Tate Donovan, Mary Mara, and okay. Not very good reviews, but yeah, I remember that was.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I'm going to ruin it for you, Walter.
They
do end up falling in love at the end.
Please, fuck. Way to go, man. I never would have seen that one coming. But at first, do they hate each other?
Well, no, they don't hate each other, but they're really good friends.
Okay.
And they don't see each other like that until they both see each other going off and boinking all these other people because the love potion works.
Oh, my goodness.
Those 90s movies.
Hey, just check this link real quick. Put it in the IRONWORX chat and see if it just takes you where you need to go.
So what else has been going on, Trav?
Nothing really. Just doing a lot of what I would consider personal development work. Just a lot of introspection. Yeah, trying to
good stuff.
Yeah, trying to set up my my future. Trying to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do for the next 25, 30 years.
No,
how about you? You been doing any crocheting?
That would be you, Zach.
No, I got out of range there. I'm walking Hank around the backyard. No, nothing really. As far as making stuff or anything like that, no. Just haven't had the that call. The muse hasn't descended.
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit briefly in text, but how difficult do you think it would be to make almost like a moccasin style crocheted hemp footwear?
I mean, one that lasted longer than a week would be. That's the difficult part. Like
no, but I mean, even in I guess even in terms of
not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess even in terms of just the style of the booty, or the however you're going to make that moccasin to fit your foot, as long as it looks good.
That would be hard without like your foot there.
Right. Yeah.
And even having the model in hand. Oh, that came out wrong. Even having the model nearby. It's difficult. Michelle constantly goes, "Here, let me check this on you," and a hat or a whatever, and then when she's finished, she's like, "Here you go," and throws it to me, and it's too tight or it's too big anyway, even though she's checked and measured, because just the process of the knots and the different rows, and suddenly you've done something, and now it's a whole thing. To be able to do it consistently every time the same way and all that stuff, that's part of the skill set you develop over the years, for sure.
Yeah, I remember getting Christmas gifts from my great-grandmother that were knitted or crocheted little booties out of yarn and shit, you know what I mean? It wasn't hemp, but she was a big crocheter. She would make pot holders and kitchen floor mats or rugs and
the big round circular ones.
Yeah. She takes all of like all her old T-shirts,
all those rags. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's one of the things that I've thought about recently was like the difference in my childhood than my kids' childhood in terms of grandparents and whatnot, you know. Like my grandparents passed away a couple years ago. My great-grandparents, they've been gone a long time. So I'm now the grandfather, right? So now I'm the age that my ex's parents were when we got married back in 95.
You know what's crazy, Trav?
What's that?
Like, what year were you born?
I was watching this, I was scrolling through these shorts, and it was about birthdays, and some millennial said to this guy, like Andrew or whatever, "Hey, when's your birthday?" And he's like 19. She's like, your birth year starts with a 1?
That's great.
So I was born in
1972.
My sister did.
All right, well, I'll just do mine because I've done it already. So when I take my age, 46, and subtract it from 79, like go back as much as I am old, it goes all the way back to 1933.
Wait, hold on. I lost the plot. What are we talking about?
What happened? Yeah, I missed that too.
I'm 46. It's been 46 years I've been alive. If I take that and subtract it from the year I was born, 1979, it goes all the way back to 1933.
You mean, wait, hold on, 1979?
46-year-old. Yeah. So
are you okay? I think you're talking about. Sorry.
In 1979 was born in 1933.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I figured out what you're talking about. Okay, I gotcha. I'm tracking now. Okay.
It took me a second.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing, man. If you think about this, right? Like, you know, Back to the Future is 40 years old, right? And but now if you think about it, what 1940s movie could I name? I couldn't name a 1940s movie. I have no clue. 1945, you know, but that's the same age gap. Like if I were born, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying. It's been 40 years since, you know.
I work with a bunch of these younger people in their early 20s, and they haven't seen any movies.
Yeah.
Movies from the 90s are like ancient to them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I was bartending here, this young 21-year-old kid who was one of the servers, it's crazy. He didn't know who the Talking Heads were. And he was a bass player, right? This kid's a bass player. He's like, "Oh, Trump." He's like, "Check out my bass," and he, you know, shows me his bass on his phone and all this kind of stuff. And so he and I have talked. I'm like, "You got to check out Talking Heads." So I introduced him to Tina Weymouth, you know, with her bass playing and whatnot. So, but yeah, it was just interesting to come across somebody who didn't know. Somebody said something to me the other day. It was like, "Who is?" And it's just a single figure. It's like almost like Sugar Ray Leonard. You know, somebody that would have been well known to us in the 80s. And they have no idea who that person is. It was an artist. It was a music artist. That's who it was. Yeah, but I'm living right next door to a modern music engineer. And he had never listened to Crosby, Stills, Nash. You know, and he's a music engineer.
That's blasphemy. Borderline communism.
It said borderline. So I want to go back into the whole thing that you were doing with the love potion number 9 thing, and my girlfriend and I, we both have a rule that if she is going to be if we're going to go out on a date or something like that, and, you know, we just put on a little bit of perfume just to, you know, spice it up a little bit. And I get to choose what perfume she is going to use because that's going to be attractive to me. And then she gets to choose what I am going to use. So, and so we buy each other our own, you know, cologne and perfumes kind of thing. You know, it's a very weird but unique. And I think romantic type of an idea that I came up with, and she agrees with it. And from there, I made the decision. We both agreed. It's this shit I have right here in my hand. What the fuck is it called? Well, it's a pheromone perfume. You know how pheromones work. That's like the love potion number 9 thing. And there are real pheromone perfumes out there. And then, so I bought this for her, and then she wasn't here when it arrived, and I took it out and I sprayed it. I was like, holy fuck, what is that? It smells like something like you'd spray on like a dead body or something. And it's like that bad. And I was like, I don't know how the fuck this is a pheromone, but there are some really good pheromone perfumes out there for men and women. But this one, some of them are just, yeah, it's like an old woman. It's like, oh, I'm about to die. Spray this on me real quick. It smells like a dead body. But I don't know what you're messing around with in regards to.
No, I haven't gotten any pheromones yet, but I did look up an option that I could order through, something online. So I do want to see if that, can add anything to it. It's not pheromone based love potion number 9 per se. It's just, banking on that title. And besides that, it's all in Latin. It's amor, potio, and then the Roman numeral 9. Love potion number 9. But it's all just right now essential oil based. But I'm telling you, man, I have not yet been dissatisfied with what I've made. And so look, what I was going to say, Andrew, is if you want to give me both versions of what you and your GF wear, if you're interested in maybe an order for Christmas or something like that, I can put something in and see if I can get it as close to what you guys like.
All right, that sounds good. Yeah.
Not only that, though. Let me just pitch the idea. Is that what I did with Josh's is that, or what I'll do with you, I'll just say yours is going to be a masculine energy, hers is going to be a feminine energy. But when you wear them together, they complement each other. It's almost like glycerin and whatever, will activate the glycerin together to make it just explode, right? Gunpowder or whatever it is. Like both of them together, I think is just even more intense. That's what my experience has been. I just did it last night with Love Potion. I put the masculine energy on my right wrist and the feminine on my left. Smelled them individually. Thought they smelled great. Put them together, and I was like, "Oh my god, that smells wonderful."
So it's Love Potion number 10
or 9.1,
or okay, something like that, right?
Yeah. Right, that's exactly what I was. No, that's exactly what I was thinking about doing. Each iteration would be just 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 would just be another change in that iteration.
All right, yeah. But the pheromone thing, I didn't really know what pheromones were until I learned about what aphrodisiacs are. And that's when I found out how, and ladies, understand this. Actually, sorry, gentlemen, understand this, that women have a stronger sense of smell than men do. And if you give them certain types of things, like red roses, as an example, have a certain amount of pheromones that are produced. And even though women don't necessarily notice it immediately, it does create a slight arousal for them. Not just for the fact that you're doing something kind to give them roses, but there's a reason why they also like roses. It's a fact. It's because those have pheromones in them.
And that only, those pheromones in the roses only activate the female of the species? Like men don't have this trigger when they smell red roses?
As far as I know.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so there's certain things as well. Like I read a book, it was like the A to Z of aphrodisiacs, and that's one of the things they were talking about, along with other things as well. You have to find the book. It's been like 20 years since I read the book, but yeah, it's pretty interesting to find out. And women are aroused from different smells versus men. But Yeah, there's one company that makes this really, really potent aphrodisiac, like cologne and perfume. And it's not cheap. It's like 1.5 ounces for like $30, $40 or something. And I've bought that in the past. And it's like, you smell that and you're like, holy shit, I want to fuck right now. Like, I don't know what that is, but I want to fuck it. Men and women, it's like the same thing.
And you had that experience?
Oh yeah, we bought it for each other. Oh yeah. It's just expensive. Okay. That's all.
But it worked?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. That's
not interesting.
Yeah. But this shit that I have right here, this is like, it's worth setting on fire. This stuff is shit. And it was, yeah.
Yeah, but what are you talking about? The stuff that you bought that you use now and you don't like it?
Well, yeah, I just bought it. I sprayed it a few times, and Amy, she smelled it. She's like, "What the fuck is that?" Like, you're not expecting me to wear that? I was like, no, no, fucking no. Like, don't ever do that unless you go to work or something like that. Then you can wear it, which can scare off all the other guys. But
yeah, it's interesting to think about because as I've made these parlones, like I said, I have not been dissatisfied with anything that I've made, but I sit there and I think this is such a different, in my opinion, because I'm not a cologne wearer until now. Like I'm wearing my cologne now, and I just find it interesting. I just feel like the whole thing that I'm making, to me, it doesn't smell like a cologne. It smells amazing, but it doesn't have for me like a cologne-y. I don't know if that means that it's not alcohol based, and if you get a spray, it's got a certain percentage. Smell. I don't know, man. There's just something about it. It just smells absolutely like natural, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, cologne is too chemically smelling, and so is perfume.
Yeah, that's
some of these older ladies. It's like they take a bath in it. Like
no.
Walk
See,
down
like
an aisle at the grocery store, and it's boom. It's just like walking into a wall. It's like, okay, I'll come down this aisle in about 5 minutes after it airs out.
No. See, the opposite of my concept is that you're gonna walk by an aisle, smell that I just walked down it, and you're gonna turn down that aisle and find where I am. You're like, where is that amazing smell? Like, you want more of it. That's exactly the analogy that I thought in my head was, this is like old ladies just putting on too much and you're like, have a gag reflex. This is exactly the opposite. I bury my nose into my wrist and just inhale because it smells amazing. That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the same thing happens with a lot of, dare I even try to bring it up, but a lot of insects. They are attracted by pheromones a lot, like bees especially. And they during mating season with animals, they put off these different pheromones that humans may not necessarily be able to sense, but they can. And they're like, oh, it's time to fuck right now. And with humans, we have the same kind of thing happens through the through our sweat. And as long as someone's like actually healthy and not just like completely disgusting and hasn't showered in a year, then they're going to put off certain pheromones that are going to be attractive.
But at one point in our time, you used those smells to know things about each other. That's what they're for. That's where the whole industry of the sense came into play, is to fuck us up and make it more hard to read another person and keep all of our emotions hidden away.
Can you imagine if telepathy was such that you would have to somehow actively, cast a spell so that somebody couldn't get into your mind?
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? Like if you want, Walt, if you and I wanted to talk right now, wirelessly, and when we were just thinking together, like there's a correspondence there and a cooperation that you're allowing me entrance into, whether or not it's because you're projecting your thoughts to me, You know, whether or not that means I'm reading your mind or you're just putting the information out there and I have access to it. But, you know, I don't know, man, the more I look at, you know, the whole Neville Goddard kind of manifestation and the stuff that's going on with quantum physics, I think that their whole quantum physics concept is the dream realm. I think that's what quantum physics is our mental access to that realm. That's what quantum physics is. And then the correspondence between how our minds have access to that platform and then can influence that platform through feelings or perhaps just an inordinate amount of, I don't know, focus, right? You know, if you're going to say, okay, I'm going to accomplish this task or whatever, and then you influence the matrix, which is, I think, maybe the way that the whole Mandela effect happens, right? Like this one account that I was reading was this woman who had gotten into an argument with her mother, and then her mother passed away the next day or whatever. And so she had this really heated situation with her mom, and she just like years and years and years and years and years of just beating herself up. And then and then she came across this this idea to go back to her younger self. Or I mean, not to her younger self, but to the self that was there when her mother was, and she like recreated the conversation in her mind, and she told her mother that she loved her, and she did that fix in her head to herself years back in a memory, right? So she uses her memory. She goes back and talks to her memory self and says, "Make things right with your mom." So then after that, her sister calls her up and says, "Hey, look, I found one of mom's journals, and the night she died, she wrote about the argument that you had with her, and she forgave you." And she read her the mother's journal about how much she understood that her daughter was, you know, trying to do what was right, and this, that. So she was excusing her daughter, loving her daughter, forgiving her daughter, and she had done that 25 years ago, and her daughter never knew it. So then once her daughter, right? So then once her daughter took her mind to the past, fixed the past, the future then came to her and said, everything's okay. Right? It's the whole, what's really going to bake your noodle is, would the sister have called the sister and read the journal if the other sister had never gone back in time and made things right? It's a Mandela effect. Somewhat. Did I kill the show?
Not at all. I've definitely been down this similar rabbit hole of late with the whole idea of this reality and this. Baby, get off the keyboard. Come on, sweetie. We can't start that already.
We got to send Walt that cat protector for the keyboard.
Dude, I looked at something I thought was it this weekend at the garage sale, but when I picked it up, it wasn't. It had like something else going on with it, like a back part. Go ahead.
I think, Travis, what you're saying is synonymous to that one movie with Matthew McConaughey called Interstellar. It's like if he had never thought about it, it would have never happened in the future, and therefore never would have happened in the past either. It goes into like this time loop kind of situation. I'm not sure if you've ever seen that movie, but
absolutely, yeah, it's an amazing movie for sure. Yeah, I think that the one thing that it was when I finished watching Interstellar, I walked away thinking, oh my God, that was a combination of A Wrinkle in Time. If you remember that children's series of time travel and science and parsecs and whatnot. So Interstellar, I think was Tesseract, sorry. Was really influenced by those science fiction writers in the past. But Yeah, to think about all of the dimensions, with the what Doctor Strange did in the end game when he went through all those 300 million possible endings. You know what I mean? Like, they all exist. And when you said no, when you should have said yes, there's a timeline when you said yes. And we have access to those timelines, right? So if you quantum leap into those timelines, you can, I don't know, man, it's really interesting.
Without a doubt. This is something that's come up repeatedly in my path, if you will. There was a period actually back in, I would guess, early 90s, mid 90s. Let me think. Q was born in 96. So yeah, early to mid 90s. I had been going quite a few different UFO type meetings. It was more than that, though. They called it Project Awareness because it wasn't just UFOs. I mean, they had, you name it, just about any topic we've talked about on this show has been something that someone came and talked about, be it NDEs or time travel or etc. And then at one point, Whitley Strieber, who began his, other type of writing with the idea of abduction and what that could actually be in relation to the history of our world, rather than little green men and shiny spaceships, the whole idea of them having been here forever and being amongst us and being just right outside of our awareness, right out, in our dimensional vibration and all that. In that same vein, in one of his books, he walked out of I think it was a store, maybe downtown Manhattan one day, and it was the 1930s. And he didn't know what to do with it. And he freaked the fuck out. And so he wrote about. Yeah, but did he do that intentionally? Idea. And no, it just happened to him.
Oh, that's wild.
But the whole thing with the whole progress of his books were that the certain entities he was dealing with were changing him. Like, they were telling him food not to eat. They were telling him things to do and not to do as far as daily practices and, meditational and types, things like that. And so in them teaching him ways to change his own self and his own vibration, that's when those kind of strange things began to happen, where he literally was in another time frame. So it's been a lot. It's been that's, like I said, early 90s.
Yeah,
I haven't read any of these things. Just the details escape me. But yeah.
Oh, say who again was that?
Whitley Strieber. He was a big UFO guy. He wrote a bunch of books about his interaction with these things. He was going to call it Night Terrors, but it became called Communion. It was a movie made about it back in
I remember seeing that.
With yeah.
I don't know if I watched it, but I remember that movie because it was
it was a decent movie. It was Christopher Walken in it, and so it's got his energy. And when I met Whitley, somebody in front of me was in the line to get books signed. Somebody had the laser disc copy of that movie, and he wrote on the front in big bold writing, "Nice try, Hollywood."
Oh yeah,
that dude got pissed. He wasn't happy with that he wrote that on there. It was great because apparently it was his favorite movie and all that. Apparently it wasn't for Whitley. He didn't like it much at all. Anyway, but yeah, there was. And this is something that's come up in all kind of stuff. I mean, if you've read the Carlos Castaneda books, that there's that idea in these books too, that things you do now can affect the history that you lived and your ancestry and things like that. Absolutely. Because time is cyclical.
Yeah, but what if you could go back in your mind right now to a time in the past and fix that thing mentally? I don't know, man. It's just so interesting, the mind, right? It's yeah, it's wild, man. that whole subconscious operating system rewiring, you know what I mean? Like software uploads, downloads. It's so fucking crazy. Like, I don't know if I've said this before and if you guys have thought about it, but I am making mention of the dream world. I actually honestly do think that that's where they got all of their information on quantum mechanics and even simulation theory. I'm pretty sure that they know, you know, how to manipulate that dreamscape arena. And then they make movies about it. And they have people write books about it. And they have these little tiny, you know, Easter egg or breadcrumb trails for us to follow. And like the one that I'm on, like trying to figure this shit out, you know? And then Walt's already down this journey and he's farther ahead of me on this. And, you know, wherever you've left that stuff behind and whether or not you incorporate that stuff into your daily life, I don't know. But it's interesting to think about. Like when I think about manifestation, it's almost like you have to write an episode of your life and just replay it in your mind over and over and over again as if it were real. Because as, you know, Joe Dispenza and other guys say, your mind, when you think about doing something, or let's say, for instance, I remember something I did last week. So it actually happened. It's in my memory bank and I'm thinking about it. So it happened. But if I go into my mind and tell my mind that something happened last week that didn't happen, but I make it as if it did happen, my mind thinks that it happened.
Right.
I mean, that's fucking crazy. But again, that's the placebo effect, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know, but if it's necessarily placebo, I really think it's the vibrational changes go both directions in the time scale of things. Because I mean, if so, this is deep, and it's way too much to get into probably. But if you think about this idea that we created this place and that we came here with, like, you know, reasons, obviously. And we chose to make this place what it is with time, cause and effect, good and bad, dichotomies. She gave me 5. What are you doing, Looney Cat? Anyway, so let's say before you came here, you set a certain path that would lead you to enlightenment and evolution in your soul, so that when you decide or don't decide or come back around again or decide, fuck this center of loose crap, I'm out of here, or whatever you decide when your time here is done, you plan that out before you get here. Or maybe it's not even a plan you made, maybe it's something put upon you. But whatever your plan of life is, it's laid out. And that's the path of least resistance from your birth to your death, with just going by and letting things go and letting them do their thing. Or conversely, from your incarnation at birth, if you've been able to retain enough knowledge before they knock it out of your head, when you come back through here again, you start working on changing that preordained idea of your life path. And so that's where you start reading good books and doing, you know, good work on your soul, meditation, dial, whatever your path winds up being in this real 3D world, then shifts that whole laid out plan, quote unquote. And so now you've inflicted vibrational changes on it from this side of things. And now you're winding up in a whole different place than the original plan. But that also goes both directions, I think. I think that goes back in time and goes forward in time. Because again, time seems to be very cyclical.
Yeah, what if intuition, what if deja vu is really a hiccup in your trans-dimensional existence with yourself? So let's say, for instance, I've had this conversation with you guys before. We've been here before, right? This is what Crosby, Stills, Nash sing about in their song Deja Vu. Oh, wait, is he talking still? Look like you were talking, Walt.
If it was, if something happened, my handler turned on my mic.
You might be watching the YouTube feed.
Your hands were moving. Looked like you were talking, but I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I was typing to Logan there in chat because he asked about Donald Marshall, and I was replying. Sorry, I didn't know you could see me still. I could have swore I turned my camera off.
It's all right. We saw you pick your nose, man. So intuition, right? Intuition and deja vu. Like, I've been here before. So then what if it is the fact that you are now on another timeline loop in your existence, and you're coming to that place where you've been before, and your mind picks it up and gives you an intuitive thought, don't buy this truck. And you ignore it, and you buy the truck and it breaks down or whatever the fuck, right? But you had an intuitive, like, I shouldn't be doing this. Why do you have that? I think it's because you bought the truck before. And it's just like 3 months later, you're like, oh man, I shouldn't have bought that truck. I shouldn't have bought that truck. I shouldn't have bought that truck. And then your whole life after that experience has been affected by the negative attitude that you had about the truck. My question is, Walt, like we were talking, could I go back to myself before I bought the truck and prevent myself from buying it? And then now when I come out of that experience of quantum leaping, I go out to the front and the truck's not there because I didn't buy it.
Where's your car, dude? Right?
Yeah. Hey, Dad, I got to go to school. Give me a ride. Sorry, man. Truck's not here. What about you guys? Have you ever thought about that in terms of what deja vu is and what intuition is? Like, it's just your timeline streams crossing at that point.
Did they cross the streams? I think they crossed the streams.
Yeah, you don't want to cross the streams, Ray.
I have deja vu very often, and it's kind of weird how it happens, only because I've experienced so many different events throughout my life, and I don't know exactly how it works with like our subconscious or the creative subconscious, which we have, and then the creative subconscious is like when we're asleep, and then the subconscious, the other way around. Subconscious is when we're asleep, and then the creative subconscious is when we're awake, and that's why I think that it activates a certain part of the brain, like the rear part of our brain, and that's where I think deja vu comes from. But then again, I am not a neuroscientist or anything like that, neurologist or psychologist or psychiatrist.
Yes, you are.
No, now I am. Damn it, I'm getting underpaid then.
Just saying, we are all scientists. We're all psychologists. We're all educators. We to a certain degree, we're all chefs. All that kind of stuff, right? Like, oh, I'm not a this or I'm not a that. Like, ultimately, you really are if you think about the functions that we do as human beings. But tell me again what you think intuition is or deja vu is, just briefly, with your whole subconscious idea.
So I will be thinking about something just like in my consciousness at the time. I'll just be like going for an evening walk and I'll see something, and then all of a sudden it just activates a certain part of my memory, which causes a deja vu kind of situation. And it happens to me pretty much every single day. I don't know why it happens to me all the time, but it does. And it makes me think back to that one part of The Matrix when Neo sees the cat walk by, and then all of a sudden he sees the cat walk by again. And that's when he says to Trinity, whoa, deja vu. And she's like, whoa. Like, oh, that's because they made a change in the Matrix. And obviously that's a movie, but I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. There you go. Good little pull there. Right, for sure. There's a change. There's a glitch. There's a Mandela effect. It's been changed. Yeah, for sure. We have agent provocateurs, right, who go into the quantum field. And again, the quantum field, in my opinion, is mental. Okay? So I'm not talking about atoms. I'm not talking about neutrons and electrons and shit that we can't see. I'm talking about that place that you go in your mind when you daydream or when you plan or when you whatever, when you remember how to go to work and you drive and you turn left on Sepulveda, you know what I mean? But if you think it, go ahead.
When it comes to the way that the human brain works, some people can get brain damage from a traumatic brain injury, from someone that's in a car accident or something like that. And then some people have extraordinarily high abilities that other people don't even comprehend how they work, such as Rain Man, as an example. That guy probably had deja vu like every 5 fucking seconds. And
stop. Why do you say that again? Why do you say he had deja vu every 5 seconds?
Because he had memory recall to the point where no one can really understand it. He read like 20,000 books and memorized 99% of everything he ever read.
Yeah. Right. So like everything that I know isn't in my mind right now, in my awareness, right? Like I'm not having, it's almost like being in a stadium full of 80,000 people and you ask them all, what's your name? And then 80,000 people tell me their name. I can't hear anything but, whatever the roar is. You know what I mean? Like that's the memory inundation of someone who is a savant, right? You have access. Like, let's say, for instance, you talk to somebody who's got that kind of photographic memory and say, okay, tell me what your 7th birthday was like. Who was there? Right? Like, I don't have that kind of recall. I know that I had a birthday party at a park and I was wearing a Snoopy. I was wearing a Peanuts baseball, 3/4 sleeve because it was with some of the buddies that I had from my Little League and it was my birthday. And I can remember little bits and pieces about that. Jay was there, Mitch was there, Sean was there. Like for some reason, that birthday, as vague as it is something that I remember. But I'm talking about intentionally going back to any point in your timeline and perfectly remembering that memory, as opposed to being like, I think it was kind of like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's similar to deja vu. I don't even. What is the etymology of deja vu? It sounds like it's French. Deja vu.
Yeah, it's French.
I don't know what it means.
And
like
there's also
I looked it up. It means something
which
like
is the feeling like none of this shit ever fucking happened before. I had to. I'm sorry. I'll stop.
I missed it. What was that inside joke?
I said, Vujade, the feeling like none of this shit ever happened before.
So you think if you could remember every detail of your life, you would have more deja vu, Andrew? Or I think you'd have less. Because you'd be able to remember the differences that would necessitate having deja vu. You're like, oh, well, all this shit was different as I remember it, so I can tell that it's clearly not something that's happened before. Like, I drive to work every single fucking day, but I don't really experience deja vu every time I drive to work because of all the different details and experiences that I encounter on my way to work every single day that don't match up. So if you can recall every single one of those little details that will make every single day different, I think you're less likely to have deja vu.
Okay, that's a difficult thing to answer, but Kim Peek, who's he unfortunately passed away about 10 years ago. He was unable to. He's the real Rain Man. He's a real person, and that's where Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman actually had to hang out with him and learn who he really was. But yeah, he would tell you things that like. There's nobody on earth that was able to replicate what he knew and what he could do. But yet he couldn't bathe himself or get dressed. He couldn't drive. He could barely communicate. and never got married, anything like that, and had to live with his father his entire life. But I would. It's a form of deja vu. I would assume it's because he's experiencing the same thing over and over in his mind at will. It's not like something he wants to do. It's just something that he's doing. So I think that is a form of deja vu.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Josh. Were you going to say something?
I don't think so.
Oh, and Walt, you're on camera, just to let you know. Shoot, I lost what I was going to say. Deja vu. What were you just talking about, Andrew? Oh, yeah. Rain Man kind of stuff. Yeah. So this is the way that I think about our thoughts, and that is that if you can understand the correlation between how your dreams work, that they're random, sporadic, and it's like changing a channel. Each channel that you change has no relationship or correlation to the program you were watching on the other channel, but it's in your dreams. So your dreams are random. They have no semblance. They seem to make no sense. To me, my judgment of that scenario with my own experience is that means that I don't have control over my mind. So I have to discipline myself to govern my thoughts. So for instance, if you're gonna try meditation, right? And you sit down and you try to clear your mind, how long does it take before your mind just starts squirrel baiting your thoughts with just inundations of things that you have to do, or things that, like your mind doesn't want to be still? You have to tell your mind, I'm sorry, this is not your turn to speak right now. Sit back down and be quiet.
And why do you think that is, Travis? That you
I'm trying to work that through, right? For sure. Yeah. Well, let me try to talk about it out loud, because I've been thinking about it recently. I'm trying to understand myself, right? I think that a lot of the dissociations that we have in our minds, that we think that our minds are this or our minds are that, is because we don't govern our minds very well. So that if you then had a better handle on your thought life, then you could direct yourself in your sleeping state to utilize your dreams as simulation environments like Neo and Morpheus, right? When they went into the sparring, where were they? When Morpheus bent over and said to Neo, who was breathing, "You think that's air you're breathing? We're in a fucking simulation, dude. You can fly, bro. Free your mind." We have to free our mind on the one hand, but we also have to govern it on the other, because the mind is the mechanism for access to the quantum field. And if we don't know how to use our mind, we're going to be like 7-year-olds that are just ADHD on the playground. You know what I mean? We just have no control over where our minds go and what we think about, and we just think that we're at the, my mind just don't know what to do. I just have thoughts all day long. I just sit here and I can't accomplish anything. There's just so much going on in my head. But I don't know. What about you, Walt? Why do you think that happens?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that what has been heaped upon us and labeled and normalized as mind is a parasitic infection. Why do you think they call it gut instinct and listen to your gut? And my gut told me not to do that, and gut. And why do you think biome of your gut, the health in it, is so huge of a part of what the pharmacy industry destroys in every aspect they possibly can? I think that's where intuition and thought and everything else truly happens in the human body. We have 7, in the gut, we have 7 centers of energy that are part of our chakra system. And each of those does something different for me anyway. I use my heart chakra as a protected field. That's what it is. The green will protect anybody I wrap around with it, or whatever. The gut, however, it not only is it where a lot of my feeling and instinct and intuition, if you will, comes from, but I know that in a lot of the altered states that I've been in, be them chemically induced or breathwork induced or meditatively induced or lucid dreamingly induced. It's almost like a manipulative field. You can, you remember in Donnie Darko, that fucking weird snake thing that everybody had walking around in front of them? The little water snaky looking thing, like out of the front of their fucking solar plexus. That's where it came from. It's probably been a long time since anyone saw Donnie Darko. Go back and watch
it looked like it reminded me of
like the water tentacle from the abyss. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Carlos Castaneda even has a section in one of the, I think it was the third book, Journey to Ixtlan, where they were going to meet another shaman that was a good friend of Don Juan's, and he was going to help teach Carlos more stuff. That's what he was doing with Don Juan in the first place, was learning this whole system of ethnobotany and magic through this shamanistic way of life. And so they were going to see this other guy, this guy named Don Gennaro. And so where he lived were near these waterfalls. And as they approached the waterfall where he lived, this dude is like on the waterfall, like he's climbing it like a mountain, jumping from one spot to another spot to another spot. And when he fucking flips out and asks him, what the hell is this guy doing? How's he doing that? He explains that that energy field is coming out of his gut, and he's using that field literally to cling to the waterfall. And like, I'm sure, hey, it's a book, and he probably took poetic license, or did he? Did he? Because in following some of the teachings and some of the, I don't want to call them rituals because it has so much bad connotation to it, but procedures, how about that? So the procedural things in that book that I physically did and worked through with a friend of mine, we literally had experiences that were not normal, like not even quantifiable in our reality. When the stars come down from the sky and dance around a tree, you've done something different in your daily routine. So just the idea of
Can I stop you real quick?
I think, is just a parasite. Go ahead.
So when you say the stars come down and dance around a tree, is that you're saying that you experienced that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since we're having
With
an open-ended
witnesses.
discussion, you had so it was like, this. Okay, so. Oh wow, there were witnesses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were you all doing something together?
I would request his presence on this show, but he just isn't going to ever do that. He's been in our chat back in the day a few times, but I'll see what I can do. Maybe I can talk him into coming on another time about it all. But yeah, it's.
So you've got like a mass group. You have a mass group that experienced the same thing, but you wouldn't call it a hallucination.
You broke up. I'm sorry. My cat did tricks. What'd you say, that last part?
If you have more people than yourself or another person who experienced this event of stars coming down and going around a tree, is that a mass hallucination, or is that a mass, like, were you all just in a trance together? Did you all
we spent that evening preparing. Like, we had been reading these books and doing work, major work. We had done, again, I hate to call them rituals, but procedural things, lots of sky-related meditation, lots of fire-related meditation and dancing, if you will, and living life with intent, the walk of a warrior. Again, this is a lot of the Castaneda stuff that has, had some stuff put upon it over the years that makes it seem like maybe it's not all it was meant to be, but I also think that could have been some of the cover story to keep people from actually going down those paths and participating in some of this. But
yeah, they give you enough
after
information
a good
that you
year,
don't.
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say they give you enough information to wet your whistle, and then they leave you high and dry with the remainder that you don't have. Like, it's like
it's like only having one part of the headpiece in Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? They're digging in the wrong place.
Right.
You know, so we have all of these, like for me, like you have a lot more experience with this, but for me, I'm just like starting to think about these things. And the way that I don't know, it's like, to me, I think about the group description that you talked about, how you guys are all reading the same stuff. You guys are in a group together where you perhaps are having these conversations. And so then what happened before the stars came down around the tree? Like, were you all trying to induce something and it just happened? Or were you all just together and then that happened without anybody?
It was me and Mike, and we had been out there. We were out on the levee, which is way out as far away from lights and city as you can get here in South Louisiana, or at least it used to be. And we were there with purpose. That was the intent, was to go out there and have something happen other again. Like, we had like little inklings here and there. This was around the same period that the black entity stood up next to me in the bed. This was around the same time the dark shadows were flying around the living room during the nighttime. This was during the same period that we had, literally like burned things in a very ritualistic, sacrificial way in the pursuit of refining our salts. Hello, Caleb in chat. And we had done a lot of shifting in our personal viewing habits, reading habits, sexual habits. We had changed things in our life significantly, trying to walk the path of a warrior, which is what these books are all about walking with intention and not just letting things happen, but making them happen. And numerous times as we worked with the sky, there would be, things happening. Was it light? Was it a star? Was it a whatever? I'm not sure. But this night, we had been steadily in the sky looking at things, going, okay, so I feel the most energy coming from that star. That's the star we need to concentrate on tonight. That one star. And so we did. And we built a fire and we did our little chanting. And it just, again, this is hard to speak about out loud without sounding like a complete utter lunatic, I know. But anyway, we had been doing these things the whole evening. And
I don't think you're crazy, Walt.
Thank you. And as the night progressed and things became, I don't even know how to explain it. There came a feeling of, okay, something's imminent. And so we kind of like just sat together, meditating into the sky, talking about it with each other, trying to figure out our future paths and what to do with this newfound energy that we were working with. And so, like, all right, well, we got to get out of here. It's getting late. So he had some fireworks left in his car. It wasn't a fireworks type of season here. And in our parish, they're illegal. So you don't normally just shoot fireworks off at a weird time of the year. If you're shooting them off when everybody else is shooting them off, you can kind of get away with it. But this was like not even close to a holiday. And it was the mortar type ones that shoot it up into the sky. And so it was the old school kind where it was just a brown wrapped charge with a fuse. You didn't know what color it was going to shoot or what it was going to do in the sky. There it was, a brown ball, light it, throw it in the tube and run. And I said, okay, pick your color. And he reached in the trunk and grabbed one. And I said, all right, I'm picking my color. Well, his color's always been purple. My color's always been green. So I went down about 40 feet from the back of the car and set it up and shot mine into the sky, and it was green. And this feeling washed over me of like, holy shit, that's awesome. And I walked back to him, and he went walking to the tube, and he shot his into the air, and guess what? It was purple. And as we approached each other to hug each other on this amazing, like I picked my color, you picked my color moment, I noticed in my peripheral vision in the sky that the star that we had been looking at all night was moving. Now, at the same time, there were these blimps that were moored off the coast. They were using them for drug, people bringing drugs off shore, onto shore kind of thing is what we were told. But they were literally like dirigible looking shaped blimp things that were tied to like an anchoring point in the ocean. And they were anywhere from 30 miles offshore to like 5 miles offshore. And you could see them. But they didn't move because they were tied to the ground. That's what we were all told, that they were not maneuverable, they weren't flyable, you couldn't fly them. And as the star began to move and dance in the sky, we both said, dude, is that one of those blimps? And it can move? What the fuck's going on? And I'm like, dude, you are, I'm not just like freaking out. I'm seeing this happening, right? And he's like, oh yeah, that thing is moving. And as it moved, we realized that it wasn't a star way up in the sky anymore, because we were seeing the tree that it was dancing in, like the shadow of the branches on the trunk of the tree, the light disappearing when it would go around the other side of the trunk. And when we realized it was that close to us, it was in that tree, we both kind of freaked out. But we went ahead, because we were on the other side of the levee. It's hard to explain what a levee is like. You'd have to be there. But it's a big mound of dirt that's miles long. One side, there's the water that it's kind of keeping in, that floods and all that. And the other side, there's a road, and we're on the road side. But we walked to the top of the levee to go see where this tree actually is, because in my mind, it's across the cove that we'd been sitting next to all evening, next to the water, where we'd been meditating and dancing and things. And as we got to the top, we realized that that tree wasn't over there across the cove. That tree was about 15 feet from us. And an owl started hooting. And in the time frame of when we were doing all this, I had just deeply, heavily into the Whitley Strieber stuff. And the owls were always a cover memory for abduction scenarios. And not only that, in Native American history, owls are a portent of doom, of death, of badness. You don't want to be fucking around with an owl, and you definitely don't want to look in its eyes.
There are
so
no
when
owls.
When I heard that owl, I flipped out, like instant flight or fight, or the terror of my soul. We need to get out of here, because that light ain't good. And so we got the fuck out of there, because that didn't feel good any longer. So, things happen. Things happen. And now I broke the show.
Well, I've been thinking about thoughts as well, Trav.
Oh, yeah? Tell me all your thoughts on God. But I'd really like to meet her.
Does your inner thoughts have a voice?
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before. I don't see images and I don't hear voices. So whatever the zeros and ones are in my mind, like if you, whatever. No, I don't hear the sultry sound of my voice in my head.
NPC.
Me either.
I'm just messing with it.
Like even trying to identify it. It's like trying to focus on something in your peripheral vision. It's like it's always just out of the possibility. Like you can't focus on it because it's in the periphery. So when it catches your attention in your periphery, you turn to look and you can't focus on it because you can only see it in your periphery. That's why it's like trying to hear the sound of the voice that's in my head. Is it my voice? I don't know. Like maybe, but also maybe not, because it's not audible, right? It's not a vibratory thing that's affecting my ears. It's all internal. So it's like it clearly there's a tone of voice to it, and it's like got familiarity to it, but I just can't quite internalize it. Can't quite grasp it enough to actually be able to point to it and be like,
that's
this
what I was.
is, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to hint at earlier in terms of the untrained mind. I would think that if you devoted enough extracurricular time to subject your mind to severe weight training disciplines, that those kinds of hiccups or maybe not so smooth ways of thinking would become smoother. I think we don't really know how to operate the way our minds work, and so we can't compartmentalize things, and so we have these random thoughts that just invade. It's because it doesn't know what to do with the information, because my mind isn't trained very well, and it's like, what do I do with this, Travis? What do you want me to do with this? And I'm just sitting there thinking, what was I just forgot something. What was I just walked into this room. What was I forgot. That's an untrained mind.
It's a compartmentalized mind. A lot of those are not passageways or barriers. What's the word I'm looking for? Almost like markers. Like, especially having worked in a kitchen, if you're in the kitchen and you go into the walk-in, whether it's passing through the door, which is usually a good, because you walk into another room, forget it. You pass through that doorway, you forget it. You pass through the doorway into the cold walk-in. Maybe it's the doorway, maybe it's the change in temperature, but you lose it. I think it's a common thing, and I think, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the soul as it traverses all of the timelines of the one single person in order to continue its existence. It's like I'm in a timeline in the kitchen, but then in order for me to continue to function for some reason, I need to forget everything as soon as I cross into this threshold, pass through the threshold into the new room. And it's like, really, the room is in a new timeline, but it's that threshold that allows you to pass from one timeline to the next. And you, like when you're born, you forget. It just zips right out of your brain.
That's what I was thinking about. What if the training of our minds in this discussion, what if, like I was saying before, the intuitive idea, like if I'm going to not take a job or whatever, and I have this feeling like I shouldn't take this job. That's my previous experience warning me, don't do this. You need to make a different decision, right? But I'm only in one timeline, the one that I'm experiencing right now in this moment. So I don't have an awareness of the other timelines when I've been here before, and I can say, well, I still want to do this. I'm just going to make a different decision. I'm still going to make the decision to take this job, but I'm going to tweak it and see what happens in the decision-making process. But what if we start to train our minds to remember who we are now, so that when we come to that point of transition from this life to the next one, those things that we've focused on in our intentional exercises are going to be more retainable when we start the next life, and we're going to have those memories again. So it's not, I don't think that our memories are wiped by something else. I think it's a result of our physiology, that we haven't trained ourselves to be fucking Jedis of our minds. And so just like when you wake up from a dream and you can't remember the dream, that's the same thing as coming back again and starting over again. It's not like these archons are wiping your mind and your brain. That's just your physiology, and you don't have enough discipline to become a god in your mind. That's my positive spin on the whole reincarnation thing. I think reincarnation, perhaps to a certain extent, is simply experiencing those timelines again and again and again and again and again.
And I think that it go to the same places in your dreams.
I would have to. I mean, I've had recurring dreams. You know what I mean? They've happened before. But in terms of intentionally going someplace that I've been before, I don't have that kind of control over my lucidity.
I'm just saying, yeah, so you've had the dream where, you're in a place, and then months later, a year later, you have a dream and you're in that exact same place again. Dream's different, but you're in the exact same place. So what if...
Is that something that you've experienced?
Oh yeah, I've got multiple places.
So you're saying that certain places trigger certain dreams?
You'll need to unlock your iPhone.
So I think it's more. I think it's more like you go back to a certain place when you're in a certain frequency. Like, it seems to me like I repeatedly go to the school is the only thing I can call it. Even though this place is a little school, that's a fucking lie that the fucking archons put on us. But where we meet up is a place that they're not able to go to. And it is a school. And it's where my dream tribe and I have figured out all kind of little tricks to fuck these little assholes over. And we meet up at that place for that reason, because they can't get there. Like, oh, maybe get them. And so when we're in those, like you say, go back to the same places, I think that's our little refuge that we have created to keep some of these energetic fucking entities from sucking us dry while we're there. Go ahead, Zach. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I was just thinking, what if it's kind of like a video game?
Yeah, it's a save point.
Yeah, you go into these different places, and it's, you're playing this game now. And then, but when you come back to this game, maybe there's a little bit of memory stuck in the RAM, but it goes like that when you're downloading all the new RAM for this place.
It's cached, but it gets overwritten real fast.
Cached. Yep. And then those places like I'm talking about are those places like, oh, there's that rock. If you go to that rock and dug down, you can't be seen and shot. So let's go in that rock and hide for a little while, and let's talk about shit in there, and then we'll make a plan. That's kind of where that school place is for us.
Yeah, but you go there in your mind, right?
I mean, to me, once that shift happens, it's as real, if not more real, than this 3D.
No,
realm.
I'm not saying, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just talking about the access point for you. It's like right now I'm talking to you and I'm sitting down. So I'm not outside. But if I get up, open the door and go outside, I'm physically transitioning to another place with my physical body. But if I just think about doing it, then I'm doing it in my mind. So that's all I meant was your access point for you to have this experience is that you went there in your mind. You created an environment, you created a simulation. I'm not saying it's not real. Absolutely, it is real. It's quantum, it's real. That's where you can fly. That's where you can breathe underwater. That's where you can have sex with Scarlett Johansson. Huh?
It's like Waking Life. I know that's one of your favorites.
Absolutely. So here we go, guys. I mean, look, honestly, I think that I've watched this movie so many times that I can talk about these things in this way, and I wouldn't be able to do it if I hadn't watched this movie. But in my opinion, memory is key to existence. Memory is key to existence. When we went to school and we learned about philosophy and we heard about Descartes and he said, I think, therefore I am, that was just the major premise. The minor premise is I remember in order that I might become. So memory is something that we have to retain. I have to remember, Josh, what it was that I said that caused the fight with my wife, and not do it again. I have to remember. Or if I'm at work and I didn't do this and I've forgotten, I have to remember to do these things in order to be a more productive member of this firm or whatever it is. Memory is key. Memory is key. We have to practice retaining memories, training our minds, which is why you do dream journals, right? When you wake up in the middle of the night and you start writing down those dreams, why do you do that? You're training your physiology to think, oh, I'm supposed to start remembering shit. Like, I've got to remember this, have it accessible. This guy is, my master is trying to focus on this particular memory. So this is something I've got to retain and put into the front of his file, folder, so he has access to it. So when we're talking about not remembering who we are when we come back in the reincarnation, that's because we didn't spend enough time disciplining our memories in this life. Because I think that if we did that, then when we come back through again, those retained memories that we've trained ourselves to retain are going to be there for us to remember and go, oh, I fucking know who I am at 7 years old. And think about this, right? You know, savants, if you have a kid who's 3 years old and he can play a concerto in his head, like that kid's been around a few times. You know what I mean? Like he remembers that he's a maestro of the piano and he can do it. I don't know if that made any sense.
Absolutely.
Well, what do you think about that in terms of what I'm saying? Like we have to, like, that's why we need all of this time. We need all of this free time to spend in our minds to train that quantum part of our existence to have a working mechanism. Otherwise, it's just pell-mell, just helter-skelter. It's got no, you know, it's just like an ADHD kid. He's got no control over his head. He just runs around the playground. He just bumps into people or interrupts conversations. You know what I mean? Like that's an undisciplined mind.
Or is it a mind that hasn't been entrained yet with the bullshit?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And so what does that child need to do? He needs to remember, oh, when I come up to this group of people, they don't like it when I, you know, So he has to remember not to talk about flat earth when he's with these people. If he wants to be with these people, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you got to learn social cues. He's like, how aware are you? So ADHD, in my opinion, is really just a physiological function of an aspect of our experience and our existence that we have to become more proficient in.
The not focusing is what you're saying. We need to become more proficient in not focusing on single tasks, but jumping from one task to the other without completion.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure I understand your question.
We need to train our ADHD. Is that what you're saying? We need to learn to flex our ADHD, which would be an inability to focus on the task at hand and jumping from one task to the other without completion.
Okay, so for instance, I'll just use myself. You know, I lose train of thought all the time. So for me, I'm saying my judgment, my criticism of myself is I don't have a very disciplined mind, because otherwise I've got a task. I've got it coming up. It's like meditation. I'm just going to switch over now to meditation. My meditation my task now is to meditate. But my ADHD squirrel brain has all these things it wants me to think about. And what am I going to allow those thoughts to come in? Or am I going to stiff arm those thoughts and block them so that I can concentrate on the one task? That's what I'm talking about.
Gotcha. It's not that we need more ADHD behavior. We need to train our brains to have less ADHD behavior.
Yeah, for sure. Right. For sure. And everybody's different.
What about dementia patients?
I mean, you know, whether or not that has to do with toxicity from things that we've experienced.
Well, I mean, it directly relates to memory, right?
Of course. That's what I'm saying, though, right? So now that we know that these toxic experiences that we've all had since we were born, since we came out of the womb, and our handlers, gave us these things that would strengthen our bodies or whatever, those things have now contaminated.
Well,
right?
Are you saying dementia is only as old as the environmental contaminations? And before these environmental contaminations, old people did not have dementia? That the brain went as long as the brain was unaging and it was only the body that wore out?
Look, man, I think that we should be able to live forever. And so, but
your years shall
based
be
on
120.
Based on what? Based on the fact that our bodies are intrinsically built to regenerate. Outside of growing bones, which I'm not opposed to saying that could happen, right? But our bodies are regenerating machines.
But not indefinitely, not perpetually.
And not that we've experienced yet. We live in an existence where we don't have that kind of possibility. So
that's my point. What's the evidence that makes you think that we are? It's never, ever happened, but maybe someday it will. So that's how I know that we actually do. How about we just take a look at what's happened and say, well, we are not because we never have.
All right, let me ask you this question. Is it possible that you could possibly own a Mercedes-Benz from the 1800s that still operates and functions in perfect working order?
No.
Okay. Well, I do think that it's possible that you could have. Okay, so let's move it up to the 1930s and do a Model T.
Well, I don't think Mercedes really had a lot in the 1800s, and I don't think even if they did, and you could garage it until 2025, it would be in perfect working order. I don't think that if you maintained it from 1800s to 2025, it would still be in the exact same condition it was in 1800s. I think it's going to undergo changes regardless.
Oh, yeah. I agree absolutely 100%, but I'm talking about the functionality of the machine itself. So
the physics of what makes it go change? Probably not. Like fire combusts in 1880s and fire still combusts in 2025. So the internal combustion engine as a concept would still carry over from 1880s to 2025, but not the actual vehicle itself, only the concepts that make it go.
So my point is to say that if our bodies were able to function in a way where they were not inhibited by excessive toxicity, that I do think that we could keep our bodies in a state of health where they would be able to regenerate and we would live unendingly.
But what's that based on is my question.
It's based on just reverse engineering of the fact that our bodies heal themselves.
But not forever. But again, we have dementia. We have obvious aging. We're not Benjamin Button. Aging has a very specific course. For every human being throughout the history of time, it's always been one direction. You start off as a baby. You die elderly if you can not die prematurely. The natural death of a human is of old age. Every time. Maybe you could come up with an argument about Hermes Trismegistus, but beyond that, I think there's never been any evidence to suggest otherwise, that the body does not age, that the body at some point stops aging and just maintains that in perpetuity. Every single time, all evidence points to the contrary. So my question is, what makes you think that every other human being, the trillions and trillions of beings throughout history who have aged have all got it wrong, but you think that maybe someday there might be somebody that doesn't, based on something? And I'm just wondering that's based on.
Yeah. Again, it's like talking about having an anarchistic society. We don't live in a place where that exists, but we can talk about the possibility of having a place of anarchy where peace and prosperity and all of the positive adulations that we can think about existence, all of those things exist in potential. So, I completely understand the position that you're coming from as an antagonist, but I'm just trying to give you the most simple idea.
That makes sense. Heaven, and I think maybe this is what Christ was referring to, the eternal life. That God will give you eternal life, not eternal physical life, but eternal spiritual life in heaven. Now that I can come to terms with, where we're not going to, our spiritual life will never age. In heaven, we have utopia and agelessness. But on earth, you're going to age and you have to have a ruler. That's just the way it is. On earth, in this reality on earth, anarchy would never be possible, an impossibility, just like never dying.
Well, let's just go back real quick and I'll say that, no, I don't think that dementia is a 20th century phenomenon. I think that the natural world with all of its homeopathic remedies are there because toxicity exists in this environment, even in a natural state, right? I could,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I could have an allergic reaction to a bee sting, perhaps, and then you give me stinging nettle and you put it on and it alleviates the pain and all that shit. like I just experienced toxicity that way, and my body had to react to it. So our immune systems, all that kind of stuff. So I think the let me just say it this way: the least amount of contamination and toxicity that we experience from birth, if we can experience that to the least amount possible, I think we would live healthier and longer. I'll just say it that way. But I think the dementia probably happened before. It just wasn't as prolific, because I think that the warfare that was exuded on humanity in the 20th century was intentional to destroy our ability to understand who we are and the potential that we have.
I think your average lifespan just wasn't long enough.
Minutes left here, guys. We surely need to have a longer conversation on this, without a doubt. I mean, my mind went to the whole biblical Methuselah 900 year type situation versus after the flood and being told your days will be 120. But that all, to me, is also part of the programming and the crap. I think it has more to do with the timeline that we're in. Has been a change of us going from a spiritual being who is openly, freely able to know everything at once, to being separate entities encased in this dome of bone and blood that our awareness is trapped inside, that separates us from each other so that we can have a separate human existence that isn't, I can read everything you think and know, and there's no mystery anymore, and there's no achievements by figuring it all out. And if we know everything when we get here, then, that's like being in God mode playing the game. That's no fun. Maybe the first 10 minutes is fun, but after that, you get really bored really quick. All right, we need to shut up. We're going to have to get out of here.
Yeah, there is only a few minutes left. You guys got any big plans this weekend?
Always. It's going to be crazy for me. In fact, I don't know that I'll be here Friday morning. It depends on what all goes on Thursday.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah, I probably won't. There's a good chance I'll stay at my dad's on Thursday night.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is we'll be there Friday. Yeah. When we get up, we'll be there. So
we'll just plan for a Monday.
Yeah.
I think
I sneak in and give y'all a Friday afternoon. You never know what might happen.
Or Saturday. Yeah, Walt might go live. I might swing by and come in on Saturday or Sunday. I mean, I got 4 days off. Who knows what I'll end up doing.
I'm going to do a copious amount of hardcore drugs.
Nice.
And do a whole bunch of illegal things.
Sweet.
Drinking, driving, and probably just aiming for pedestrians. And then from that, I'll probably just sleep in.
Sleep in at least till you can have somebody come bail you out.
Obviously, that was a joke for everyone in the audience. Or was it?
And
thank you all.
Just a quick reminder that, Josh, if you want to share any of those links with people, if they want to put any orders in for Christmas gifts or whatever, let me know.
Absolutely. Zach, you got big plans this weekend? I'll take that as a no. I'll take that as I'm busy trying to get to work. Y'all shut the fuck up, leave me alone.
He's probably right out of the range trying to get ready.
All right. Well, I sure do appreciate you guys hanging out with us this Wednesday.
Really, it was good to talk to you again, Travis. You too, Andrew.
Heck yeah. Thanks for popping in. And that link should be good. Every show should be that same link.
All right, I'll keep it. I always forget to keep it.
Well, you're on the call, so it should be showing up in your list that you should just be able to click on it and then click join. Should be.
Yeah, thanks. The key is remembering that. Thank you.
Then, yeah, with ways and stuff. I don't know. It don't matter. But we'll see you back here next week. Thanks, everybody. I sure had a hell of a show. Great way to wake up. And then we'll see you back here on Monday morning for sure. Maybe earlier. Get a wild hair up our ass. Otherwise, be good, be well. Do good. Make sure you do it well. We love you. Bye-bye.
Why do they keep blocking Sute's fucking chat? What the hell?
Who's doing it?
Fucking YouTube. Like, every time he's typed something in the last few minutes, it's been somebody having to approve it, and there's no cuss words. The only thing I could think is earlier something about blood maybe was in one of them, but yeah, repeatedly he's been, like, having to be okay
Yeah,
for
approved.
something.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Oh, he's talking about health stuff back up the stream. I maybe am understanding it now. Uh-huh. Fuckers. Oh, what the hell just happened?
Oh, I'm just playing.
Speaking of playing, thank you for that crazy little thumbnail. I like it.
I've not used them. I've been sitting on them forever. I mean, they're just not quite good enough for me.
Oh, no, nothing is. But, like, I've been playing, like, apparently when I got my last update on my phone, they put some kind of new, thing.